Chrome Mox, Extra Planar Lens, Chalice of the Void, even the Talismans. So many good cards came out of Magic the Gathering's 30th expansion, Mirrodin.
But those aren't the cards we're talking about today. No, today we're talking about the sleeper cards, those cheaper cards that fly under the radar, but we still think have some viability in EDH. And the video starts right now. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below.
Hello and welcome to the day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. We are going to talk about the Commander Sleepers in Mirrodin. We've had a lot of requests to bring this series back, and here we are.
We're doing it.
We're doing it. But before we do it, if you would, go down there and hit that like button or hit that dislike button. That info really helps us out.
It's the best way to support the channel with just the click of a button. If you are a fan of Jake and Joel Are Magic, head on over to Patreon. It might be a good fit for you, but if you're here now, you're having a good time, just subscribe. Let's talk about some sleepers from Mirrodin, MTG's 30th expansion.
Starting off with Trash for Treasure. Jake, this was a rare when it came out, and it is a solid effect. Additional cost, sack an artifact, return target artifact card from your graveyard to play. So if you can, like, you know, Buried Alive, a Blightsteel Colossus, sack a treasure token in addition to your Trash for Treasure CMC of 3, return Blightsteel Colossus to the battlefield for 3 mana. That's a hell of an effect.
Yeah, 3 printings total on this card. I do agree with you. Very strong. I like that flavor text. Goblins generally have 2 possessions, 1 per hand. These are cards that you can acquire if you are on a budget for EDH, but you want good synergistic effects. Trash for Treasure starting us off. Let's get through to the next card here. This one's very strong. Joel showed me this card today. 1 red, 4 other for Volshak Battlemaster, 2/2 with haste. When it comes into play, attach all equipment in play to it. Your equipment, your opponent's equipment. My understanding, Joel, and correct me on this, is that they still pay the costs to move it around. They still control the equipment. As we can see, control of the equipment doesn't change.
Volshak Battlemaster, you are correct, Jake. It attaches all equipment in play to it, whether it's yours or your opponent's. And if your opponents want to have it back, they do still control it and have the option of paying the cost. I think that this is underplayed because you can't always count on good equipment being on the other side of the battlefield. But Jake, backdoor removal of Lightning Greaves, anyone? This is like backdoor getting around the haste, the shroud equipment that your opponent has on their commander or whatever. Jake, your point about, you know, there being these lesser known cards, that's really my favorite part of Commander Sleeper series, is finding 50-cent rares that I'm like, hey, there's a niche deck for this. How about a big dumb beater, Copperhoof Vorak, 5 mana for a 2/2, but it gets +1/+1 for each untapped permanent your opponents control. Jake, what I see here is a beast that wants trample, and it is ready to go.
Yeah, any sort of Whisper Silk Cloak or Key to the City. You give this Copperhoof Vorak the key to the city, and it's going to get through. It gets so much better late game as board states improve. I was talking about this card with like a fling type effect, or just, again, any sort of unblockable. We were talking about Lathril, very, very popular commander that just has so many elves. If you get this thing through, or if you fling it at someone's face, if it's the right point in the game, it might be enough for a kill shot by itself.
Absolutely. Plus, the art is sick. After that, we've got, Jake, this might be the most expensive card on our list here today at $1.25.
Yeah, sure. 2 green, 2 other. Glissa Sunseeker, Elf, Legend, First Strike. Destroy target artifact. This is a tap. Destroy target artifact if its converted mana cost is equal to the amount of mana in your mana pool. 3/2 here. This card is very, very strong. Again, a great target for like a Lightning Greaves. Make sure that you can protect it, but it's going to be taking out all of the pesky Soul Rings. I mean, Soul Ring's not going to be hard to destroy with this card. I mean, just tap 1 mana, destroy it. So
yeah, exactly. Mana nice Vault, that kind of thing too. You know, just a repeatable effect. I really like cards that come in and have a repeatable removal type effect. You'll see another one later in the list that, you know, these cards aren't ridiculously powerful as evidenced by their price, but having a repeatable removal effect on a card like this is very good to have. Molder Slug for 5 mana, 4/6. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacks an artifact.
Yeah, and what you need to know if you're like, wow, there's a lot of artifact synergy cards here. Well, Mirrodin, Darksteel, those sets were very heavily centered around artifacts. That's why in Mirrodin Besieged, Scars of Mirrodin, big artifact theme as well. Mirrodin is all about artifacts. So this is just one of those kind of things where it's eventually, if it doesn't get answered, it's just going to eat all the artifacts on the board. Yours, your opponent's.
Right.
It just needs to simply sit and be protected, and it's going to eat things.
From a gameplay standpoint, I wish that this was an artifact beast. So when you were done with it, you could sacrifice it to itself. That would be a cool effect. I understand from a mechanical standpoint why it doesn't want to be that way. From a design standpoint, flavor standpoint, you know, it doesn't want to be an artifact that's eating other artifacts. But I do like, yeah, that passive, you're gonna lose an artifact at the beginning of every turn, hope you can make treasure tokens or, you know, thopters or mirror or something.
Now if you play liquid metal coating, I believe is the card,
yeah,
you could just, you know, at someone's upkeep, make one of their favorite things an artifact. You could also do it to your slug too, like you were saying when you're over it. But yeah, very interesting card. A lot of synergy here on a card that's what, like 30 cents, 40 cents?
Yeah,
pretty cheap card. Yeah, Altar of Shadows is next, and yes, this is a very expensive artifact, but it is repeatable removal on an artifact. 7 for at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add black to your mana pool for each charge counter on Altar of Shadows. How do you get charge counters? Well, you got to pay 7 and tap this to destroy target creature, then put a charge counter on Altar of Shadows. Gets better with proliferate type effects, anything like that. If you can make this ability cost less, then this card gets better as well.
It's a very expensive artifact, but again, I do like that repeatable effect, just to be able to every turn, if you don't have a play, if you're out of cards, if you got 7 up and at the EOT before it comes back to you, pay 7, cap a creature. I really like it for that. And it's very affordable, very, very cheap.
Yeah, it's going to thrive the most in big mana, right?
Right.
We really want that card in a big mana deck, yeah.
Absolutely. Psychogenic Probe is a very cheap card. 2 mana for an artifact. Whenever spell or ability causes a player to shuffle, they take 2 damage from Psychogenic Probe. Now, Jake and I look at this and we go, wow, this card is way, way overpowered. I can't believe nobody's playing this. I can't believe this card is less than $1. But then I guess you have to ask yourself, how often is everybody really shuffling?
Yeah, and I think that it will do damage throughout the game. It's better early, and you said earlier, it is not great late. Too. The art is absolute nightmare fuel, so if that is something that you care about, then it's a really good card for that kind of deck if you're going for something that's like
backwards
the worst
Matrix
scenario. Maybe it gets better in time. Maybe there's something that comes out where it's, you know, players are really shuffling their library a lot.
All of these cards have very niche effects, like we said, but you know, Commander Sleeper Series, that's what they're about finding.
That's what it's about, baby.
Promise of Power is the final card we want to look at here. 3 black, 2 other. Choose one. Either draw 5, lose 5, or put a black demon creature token with flying into play where the power and toughness is equal to the number of cards in your hand as the token comes into play. Or for 9 mana, you get to do both. This is a card, this is a pet card of mine. I started playing this way back in the day when we first started playing EDH. This was one of the earliest cards I would put into my black decks because I love that. Draw 5, lose 5, pay 5. That just, it's so clean to me how that card works. Plus, if you pay it really late, you pay 9, you get a big creature. You also get to refill your hand. This is the kind of card that, you know, it's been outclassed by cheaper cards and by cards that can slot more easily into 3 and 4 color decks. I believe that black, black, black 2 is part of the low cost of this card. It's best in mono black and mildly playable in 2 color, and past that it starts to get rough. That you want to be able to consistently cast it, but still a very good sorcery, and like I said, one of my favorites.
Yes, you have definitely played this card to great success in the past. Just being able to refuel your hand. I like the demon the least on this card. Sure. You've said a lot of the good things about it. Interesting set. A lot of the cards in this set have already been proven to be powerful. Our Chrome Moxes, our Chalice of the Void, all of the talismans, even these, so many powerful uncommons came out of this set, and we have Darksteel coming up next. So if you are interested, make sure that you're subscribed because the Commander Sleeper series is coming back.
Absolutely. It's like a nice old pair of jeans sliding it right back on. We've been doing this series for over a year now, and we had gotten multiple requests. So here it is, everybody. Everybody,
dude, I'm wearing these
applaud.
jeans today that are like these old jeans that I just decided to put back on.
Those are your Commander Sleeper series jeans, fella.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Everybody, if you like the video, hit that like button. If you don't, hit that dislike button. Other than that, I am tapped out, Jake.
And I just can't wait to break in these jeans more.